correct. I'm going to write this down too in my book. I got it.
Here you go.
W-A horror.
It's right up there, baby girl.
Horror. 219.
Horror.
219.
A lot of people, when they say the word horror, they miss that second syllable.
It's really difficult.
It's like, or they don't hit that second syllable enough, and it sounds like you're saying something else.
Yeah, Mama says horror.
Horror. But that's still got a second syllable, so you know they're not saying the other thing.
Mm-hmm. That's true. I mean, are we live?
We're live.
We are live. Yeah, people do struggle with saying the word horror. We've discussed it on the podcast before. You know, some people say horror. Some people think when I say horror, I'm saying horror. That is incorrect.
It's tricky. It's a landmine.
It's a landmine. Hold on. Guys, this episode requires us to set the mood. So we are going to set the mood.
Try, baby.
Try to hold me. All right.
You know, I just realized that, you know, we've known each other for years, and never once has a woman asked us both to serenade her.
Well,
I think the ladies are missing a real opportunity.
They're smart.
No. I just think, you know, taste has gone downhill in all areas.
Oh well, I mean, I wouldn't argue that.
Including these. Look, it's Valentine's Day. Look at the specimens we are for masculinity. Is all I'm saying.
I'm an effeminate male, and I have no problem admitting that.
I don't even put the effeminate label in front. I'm just like,
I'm a male.
I didn't even know when the Super Bowl was.
Oh, Jonathan, I'm so glad. I'm so proud of you for that, because apparently it was watched. It's the most watched thing since the 1969 moon landing.
The Taylor Swift Super Bowl?
Yeah. No, and that's exactly why, because it was the Taylor Swift Super Bowl. But yeah, that's insane. They made some insane numbers there.
I did notice, and not because I watch it, but because, you know, I'm always online and I see clips. Mm-hmm. You can't avoid the clips.
No, you can't.
It doesn't matter what you're talking about. There will be clips.
Mm-hmm.
But I noticed that Miss Swift was hanging out with my girl, Lana Del Rey.
She was.
And I just want to take this opportunity to say, Lana, I know it's been a long time since we talked. And I know, like, you're out there in California and you got a lot of famous friends and stuff, but I'm still here.
Hey, she'll find the podcast one day, and then you're set.
Lana,
set.
I'm here for you. And when you get tired of all those LA guys with their abdominal muscles and their money and their fucking charm,
their Riz,
and the fact that they change their shirt every day.
Oh man,
I'm here.
Well, one thing I did notice from this is that now, and I don't know, this might have been happening in the past, but I feel like all of them this year, all of the movie trailers, were essentially just trailers for the full trailer online, because they can't pay the extra $86 million it costs for another 30 seconds or whatever it costs for a Super Bowl ad.
See, I don't ever really watch like broadcast TV, so I don't see like real commercials. I mean, once in a while I get on Hulu, and you know they drown you with the same 3 commercials.
Amazon's about
in every show.
I think Amazon's already done.
Yeah, and did you see the email that they sent out to let you know? Oh, it was a masterpiece in propaganda and bullshit and not saying the obvious. At no point were they like, we're downgrading your service.
Right.
Because we need to make more money.
Right.
And that should have been the subject line. But instead it was like, you know, oh, just a little change to your service. Hey, by the way, you still get it. We're just gonna throw in some ads. Yeah. That's all.
And if you don't want annoying ads,
same amount of money you've been paying. Didn't have ads before.
No.
Gonna have ads now. Yeah. Can you imagine having to write that fucking email?
Well, right. Well, we're
assuming that it wasn't like ChatGPT, that they came to a person and were like, listen, we need some A-level bullshit here.
That's something I would have used ChatGPT for. I feel like, if I was going to have to write that.
Oh, sure.
But yeah, nobody's going to do anything about it.
But GPT's so good now. I mean, Eli Roth used it for Thanksgiving. You didn't know that?
Let's not touch on that sensitive subject for our love episode.
We don't want to go back there.
No. But let's see. Yeah.
Oh, wait, just a second. Just 1 second here. Now, Levi, I know it's been a couple.
Oh, Jonathan.
No, listen. It's been a couple minutes since we've seen each other. because we're busy people with dependents. And I just wanted to let you know that it was Valentine's Day, and I was thinking about it.
Oh my God!
You take that flower. You take that flower.
Oh man!
Don't tell Tandy I took it out of her bouquet.
I will not.
Okay.
These are mine. Oh boy!
You just tuck that wherever you like when you get home.
Did you guys do anything for Valentine's Day?
So, I mean, I got everybody candy and flowers and a balloon, right?
Yeah, awesome.
And then, when I brought those home, Tandy was like, you know what, later.
Oh my God.
And then, and then around 9 o'clock, well, I knew what was going to happen. It's a school night. It's a school night, and we have 5 children. Nobody's getting laid here on a school night. I'm not a moron. I've done this for years, right? But she said that, and it was like, and I was like, oh, that sounds so nice. But I knew it wasn't going to happen. Then, of course, around 9 o'clock, once we finally get the kids
lights out, bro,
locked into their rooms and chained to their beds, because that's how we do it, I happened to look over, and she's just asleep. She's just asleep.
Oh, no.
So I watched some movie reactions with some of my YouTube reaction girls.
Oh.
And we had a fine time.
Nice.
Did some Band of Brothers.
Yeah.
The thing I like about the Eastern European ladies is they cry. They cry a lot.
When like what?
The reactors on YouTube. Like when it's a sad part.
Okay, yeah.
Like women from other countries, they just weep.
Yeah. Well, they're probably a little more in touch with their emotions than Americans are.
But that's what I was thinking, because I realized, like, if I can't see a woman cry, I can't feel things.
Oh,
like I have to see them cry so I can feel things.
Oh my
it's
God.
like it gives me permission to have feelings.
They're like your mirror that Jack uses in the house that Jack built.
Remember,
Always trying to teach himself how to smile.
Isn't that a line from Always Sunny?
Something like that.
Where Dennis is like, I'm having feelings.
Yeah, it's nuts.
That's like,
this is crazy.
I have feelings every day. Every day, dude. Every day, bro.
Well, he's a total sociopath. I tell you.
But the story, no, I'm sorry, there was a story. Because
Yeah.
I went to get all the candy and the flowers and the balloons. Mm-hmm. And I was trying to surprise everybody, so I was Ubering back home. And I was standing in the doorway of the store because, I didn't want the wind to take the balloons, and I'm waiting for my Uber. And this elderly lady walks by me. She's probably like 65, 70. Mm-hmm. And she looks over and she sees, because, 5 kids, I'm just holding like an immense amount of stuff, right? And she gives me the sort of up and down. She looks at me and then she says, somebody's getting some tonight.
Oh my God.
And then she walks out of the store.
Can I just say, hold on one second, and then we'll really get into what we're doing this whole podcast for. I think that it's somehow sad that we have this assumption that on Valentine's Day you're supposed to get laid. I kind of find it cheesy, because for me, intimacy and stuff are so much better when it's spontaneous, not scheduled. And so it's just very strange to me that everyone expects to get laid on Valentine's Day.
So what you've just
not get laid any other day.
Here's what's happened is you've told everyone you don't have kids without telling them you don't have kids.
Right.
You're like, I like it spontaneous.
Oh, no. You got your hopes up. Oh,
you're like, you might as well be being like, once you've driven a Tesla Model 3, there's really no going back to the minivan. Some of us have to drive a minivan, Levi.
I know. You know who probably drove a minivan? David Cronenberg. And a creepy one at that.
Quite possibly.
So this will be our second Cronenberg film. Of course, we're discussing The Fly from 1986, one of our favorite love and horror films.
Well, I mean, when it comes to romance, when it comes to stories that deal with the depth and the wonder and the terror of romance. Mm-hmm. I mean, there's The Fly.
Yes.
And then there's I don't even know.
The Brood, maybe?
The Brood, maybe.
Possession?
10 Things I Hate About You.
Right.
No.
This movie's, spoiler alert, this movie's perfect. I love this movie. And I saw it early as a child, and it has literally stuck with me ever since. I feel like The Fly is a part of who I am, because watching that for the first time as a child molded my sensibilities.
So,
and I never forgot certain images.
Do you think that had something to do with that false imprisonment charge that you caught several years ago, or was that a situation of its own?
I have no idea what you're talking about. So, but of course, it's starring one of our favorite actors, Jonathan. Correct?
The Goldbloom.
The Jeff Goldblum. And what did you say?
This is Pete Goldblum.
Pete Goldblum.
A lot of people think it's Jurassic Park, and don't get me wrong, he was fantastic in Jurassic Park.
I mean, yeah.
Give the man his due. Yeah. Okay? Yeah, all kinds of memes, right? But this is Pete Goldblum.
He's got a full head of 80s hair, and it looks fantastic.
A beautiful head of hair. Those abdominal muscles, the man is fit.
Oh my God, I know. Ugh. We'll talk about that later. It's also starring Gina Davis, who actually has a film festival up here in Northwest Arkansas, which is really interesting. She's the
and she hasn't invited us.
Right, I know.
What the hell?
Well, I haven't reached out to her yet.
All right, well,
one day I will.
Get in touch with her people. Right. Have our people call her people. And
right. So right off the bat, there's going to be a lot of toothy dialogue with Jeff Goldblum and Gina Davis at the
toothy dialogue. Yes. Explain yourself.
I'm going to change humanity. And then she's like, well, you can't change humanity. Sorry, I can't. I mean, I can't help it. Like, it's so noticeable.
And here's the thing: Levi and I are from Arkansas, so we're allowed to make fun of other people's teeth.
And accents too.
We really are. Yeah. It's okay.
Hey, we've both got great teeth. Okay, I will say that.
Well,
despite where we grew up.
Listen, we have all of them, and that's all you need to brag about in this state.
I don't though.
Well, you got to
visibly.
Visibly. It doesn't count if they take out, one way in the back.
Yeah, it's in the back. Yeah.
Nobody sees those. Those are extra.
So Jeff Goldblum plays Dr. Seth Brundle, soon to be the Brundlefly. Spoiler alert. And Gina Davis plays Veronica Quaife. And
it's an unfortunate last name. Go ahead.
I think I pronounced it right. It's Quaife, and I don't remember hearing it in the film.
Let's not think about how the French pronounce it. Just go right ahead.
Right. Well, that's a nice little segue into what I was about to say. The short story that was written in 1957 and was released in an issue of Playboy was written by a Frenchman, Jonathan. A damn dirty Frenchman.
Playboy used to publish.
I know.
Like top tier short stories.
Stephen King was published in Playboy.
You crazy. Really could read it for the articles.
I know.
I'm just saying.
I know. His name was Georges Langeland, or Langeland.
Yeah, just learn to pronounce a fucking consonant, why don't you? What is wrong with that country?
The short story is very different than the film, of course, though. The following year, we got a movie adaptation starring my favorite boy from Missouri, Vincent Price.
So, real quick, how do you feel like the Jeff Goldblum one holds up against? Like, how do you feel those two compare? The original with Price and then the 80s remake.
They're essentially the same thing, but miles apart.
Sure.
They're so different. I love Vincent Price. I don't really like that movie that much because that movie feels more like a sci-fi 50s atomic scare film. Than this disgusting metamorphosis.
But they didn't have the tech to do it right.
No, they didn't. And it's like an instant change. And the doctor
help me.
Help me. The doctor gets the head of the fly, and the head of the doctor goes on the fly. It's very strange. He can't talk. The fly can't. Unlike in this, Goldblum gets to talk for quite some time before he completely loses the use of his jaw.
Then that speech he gives about insect politicians.
Oh my god, dude, it's so good. I'll get to that. Let's see. The short story opens like H.P. Lovecraft's "Ding Ding Ding," the thing on the doorstep.
I still don't have a bell sound. I'm ashamed of myself.
I know. Because it's essentially a man getting a phone call from his sister-in-law, and she says, "I've killed your brother, but I'm not guilty. I need you to come over right now." And that's essentially the thing on the doorstep, which is, I just put 6 bullets into my best friend, but I'm somehow not the murderer. And it's like, and so
that's
really cool. I really like the short story. Also, the very beginning of the short story, and this does have a similarity to the film we're about to talk about. The first line of the thing, or not the thing on the doorstep, sorry, the Fly short story is, telephones and telephone bells have always made me uneasy. Years ago, when they were mostly wall fixtures, I disliked them. But nowadays, it's in every corner of every room. And he's talking about
Thank God he never lived to see the future.
Right. Like, and he's talking about, it's so, oh man, it's really crazy to read a story from 1957 and go, fuck.
Now they're all like if you're lucky, it's just only always in your pocket.
Right. Oh no.
If you're a little less lucky, it's always on your wrist.
Yeah.
And if you're less lucky, now they're drilling it into your skull.
Yeah, or in your ear. It's constantly in your ear, which is just
They got
like cutting out the middleman.
They got the Neuralink thing now.
Yeah, they do. Is that really a thing?
They have put that in. People have volunteered to let Elon Musk put a chip in their head.
Oh my God, Jesus Christ! That's not cool with me. But of course it's not. You know.
Well, how would it be? I mean,
yeah, that's some like biblical shit. Number of the beast shit. Sorry, I get.
No, it is. It's
really
what
southern when I talk that religious
it's
stuff.
what they were always warning us about in like Protestant churches in Southwest Arkansas or whatever Arkansas.
No, seriously, I heard the rant when I was a child. Yeah. Crazy, but
were they crazy or
I don't
were they
know.
right?
Were they right? Blah blah. Well, the writer of the short story "The Fly" was fucking right, so it's not out of the question. This was also based on Kafka's The Metamorphosis, where the protagonist will never be realized for his work and dies a no one.
Did you read that story in college?
Oh yeah,
Metamorphosis. Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
What did you think about it?
I mean, I like it. It's not very different from this film in certain ways.
Well, in terms of like the underlying thematic discomfort. I mean, the basic nature of the whole like. One day you wake up and you're alien to everyone around you.
Well, you know I love that shit. Tom.
Well, yeah. Well, I mean that's just been your lived experience, Levi,
Dark
and I would never criticize that.
I know, but no. Everyone. The more you grow into yourself. I feel like, and the less you care about what people think, and so of course you grow into someone that loved you 10 years ago and now thinks you're a fucking monster. You know it. You know. Ask people who have been through a divorce, you know. So, but that's neither here nor there. We're not going to talk about divorce on this. We're going to talk about love.
No, we're not going to get anything controversial. Just love and breakups and abortions
and turning into
side romances with your boss and turning into a fly because you
bug.
forgot to tell the computer to make sure you were the only thing in the pod before you pushed the button.
Well, I want to get into why.
And as a programmer, I just want to say I deeply empathize with the mistakes he made here.
One of the more interesting parts of this film is, and I really liked where he set up the computer creates flesh, but it's what a computer thinks flesh is.
Yeah, it's a computer's interpretation.
That's nuts.
Of flesh.
Yeah, and it's it's just and also the baboon scene, man. That's
Which one? The one where it turns inside out, or the one where it lives?
The one where it turns inside out, and that's the first like body horror you get in the film, which is just insane. Like it's still moving. Oh my god!
Here's the thing: wouldn't you start with a mouse?
Yeah. Why?
I mean, after plants, you would do inanimate objects, right? Then you would do simple life forms,
right?
That you don't have such a qualm about maybe
if he's gonna
getting messed up.
He's such in a hurry to teleport humans that he goes straight to a monkey. Right? I feel like that's what it is.
Also, where are you getting all these monkeys?
That's a good question.
Because I'm
just suspension of disbelief.
I'm just thinking about like in my job as a programmer, and it's just web stuff. It's not we're not teleporting anybody, but the only way you know whether something works is to put press the go button.
Yeah.
Now, if you're making a website, the worst thing that happens is you get an error message. But in his case, every time he pushes the go button to see whether his device works after whatever little change he's made to it, he kills a baboon.
Yeah.
He turns it inside out.
Well, I mean, dude, it is terrible. Like,
where's the mop that he cleans that pod out with? I mean,
I know. I hate to see an animal harmed. So I don't.
Why didn't he do something ethical, like use like homeless people or something,
or rats? Just use rats. Poor little bastards. Little lab rats. Let's see. This essentially takes place in one room and could be a play. In fact, Jonathan, it's
Ladies
a
and gentlemen,
musical.
I'm gonna stop here and I'm gonna apologize for what Levi just said. In no way does this movie need to be a play.
No,
Nobody
no,
needs
no,
to
no.
watch a play.
No.
Don't, please stay away from the theater for your own.
No,
your
no.
own well-being.
I mean, there's some
No,
ideas
you're right.
there.
It could be right.
Right. Well,
You could have what? You could have set pieces with just her coming to his place
Yes.
because that's where most of it happens.
and you've got this great center thing that's just these pods.
Yeah.
That are already like buzzing when the audience walks in. But
And a lot of her interactions that you need for the story, she could have on the phone,
yeah, I know.
like with her boss,
Yeah.
and his concerns.
And and her ex just shows up. I mean, there could be a scene change. We'll talk about the
Who
ex.
plays her ex?
I'm gonna have to look that up.
Okay,
I'll have to look that
I don't remember.
up. But it is actually there is The Fly the musical, so they already did that.
Okay,
Yeah, Jonathan, you'll like this. This is like 80s tech sci-fi.
yeah,
Everything looks. I mean, it's not shiny or it's not heavily metallic. Of course, none of it's CGI, which is incredible. The effects work in this film is just as good as The Thing. Man, this was like peak effects.
you think so? Peak practical effects?
I really 82 to 86.
Because at
87.
86 they've got all the previous work.
Yeah.
They've got all the lessons. They've got like all the techniques
Yep.
that people have
They
been
found the
developing since
masters.
the late 70s, right?
Yeah, yeah,
So it's like established. This is how you do it.
yeah. And they perfected it, and and we talked about this on The Thing. It's just on our Thing episode. It's just why do we need CGI? And we talked about how it's probably in the long run actually cost effective because you don't like it takes so long to make those practical effects. It actually takes shorter to do the CGI work, and so you have to pay someone shorter. And I just feel like it's lazy too. But again, Godzilla.
But look, I've never been an actor, but one thing that I always feel like a reflexive distrust or maybe even disgust toward is like when you see one of your favorite amazing actors filming one of these new movies and they're in a motion capture suit with a fucking headset on and the green screen behind them, and it's just like, what are you doing? How is I can't decide if it's like a testament to their talent that they can still make it believable in a lot of cases,
Yeah.
or if it's just like gutting the whole I don't know, experience of like having a set help you.
Yeah, well, okay, so for me, actually, yeah, so your environment greatly affects how you're going to act. These guys are really doing some legwork when they're acting with ping pong balls. It's because for what I was taught is that it's all about partner. So how the hell do you make it about partner
When you're the only
when
person.
you're the only person in the room? Yeah, it's difficult. And what you should watch, and this is what I think about because it's such a striking video. Watch, God, what's his name? Benedict Cumberbatch do Smaug for The Hobbit.
That's one that I saw.
It's nuts, dude.
And he's going
so
for
good,
it. You know,
dude.
he's
Yeah,
100%. I don't want to take anything away from
the
that.
scenery, which is only green screen and ping pong balls, but he is chewing it up, man. That's a professional. That's a
It is.
professional.
I don't know. Obviously, with my thing for the 80s, it's just that practical effects sell me harder.
Yeah.
And I don't know. There's no specific reason there should be that, but I feel like that's true even when I don't know. Because you'll watch some low budget movies today, and they'll go for practical effects because they're cheaper sometimes.
Yeah.
Compared to paying for the CGI work.
Yeah. And one of the big selling points of the sequel trilogy to Star Wars was practical effects. Because if you remember, the prequels are just drowned in green screen.
And half of those scenes are just...
They don't hold up, man. They really don't.
It's like there's no level of drugs that can help you suspend your disbelief. In episode 1,
Yeah.
where Ewan McGregor's character Obi-Wan is trying to find the hidden planet, and he goes to that cafe and he sits across from that CGI character.
That's in Attack of the Clones episode 2.
Okay,
Yeah.
I didn't believe a second of that scene.
Oh, no.
It was so
bad.
horribly forced
It has not aged
and
well.
fake,
Yeah.
and he's not even looking at it.
No, it's so
They
bad.
couldn't even fix the eye line.
I know. It's terrible. That was early days of that kind of technology, though. I mean, George Lucas was like on the forefront of that shit. So, but anyway, so I've realized something. Most of my favorite horror movies are sci-fi horror. This is sci-fi horror at like one of its peaks. You know, it's
And by the way, ladies and gentlemen, it was made in the 80s. I just want to.
just like my favorite horror film was made in the 80s, just like my favorite film was made in the 80s. I know this, Jonathan. You don't have to bring it up.
We gotta
Stop.
We never miss an opportunity.
Stop bringing it up. Damn it. You have a point though.
I feel like I need to edit this episode so that I can drop in one of your very early clips.
I know. God, just right there. Yeah, the 80s are trash. The fucking. I mean,
Let me tell you something about Vincent Price.
No, that's true. So this film with the teleportation, I immediately thought of The Jaunt by Stephen King, and they have a lot of the same themes going on, which is our dependence on technology, the dangers of convenience, and what teleportation is actually capable of doing to our minds and bodies. Like, think of it. All of your atoms, all of them, move in sync. So basically all of your atoms explode. And then all of those atoms move from where they exploded and broke apart to where they want to go, and then connect back together perfectly, where you can taste, see, touch, hear, and have the same personality. It's just nuts, man. Like, I don't think it'll ever happen. But
I think but you're talking about science fiction horror movies being your favorite kind of horror movies. But I think it's because one of the things is that they reveal two things. Number one, they're always playing with our relationship with technology. Mm-hmm. Which is we know from history and for the present. Jesus, we know history.
God, yeah, it's moving
just
so fast now.
Every day we know is fraught.
Yeah.
But the other thing is that the other side of that is that every new discovery we make about the natural world, about like the quantum world, for instance, Oppenheimer made great hay out of this, but the movie. But everything we learn about the quantum world, or even about the larger universe, is more horrifying. We'll hear something.
Bell ready.
You learn about black holes. You learn about
bell ready.
You learn about the bizarre nature of the universe, and like everything we learn is more horrible and in some way alienating.
Yeah.
From nature than the previous one. I don't know if I'm explaining this quite right, but there's something so inhuman, and Lovecraft tapped into this. He was
that's why
cosmic horror. He was one of the first people who.
Three-body problem goes into this. That's about to be a Netflix show.
But he was one of the first people to really get it. But so both of those things are going on. It's like, on the one hand, we blame ourselves for not being able to manage this tech that we create, and for all the blind spots. Mm-hmm. For instance, forgetting to tell the computer, make sure I'm the only living thing in the pod before you disassemble me and put me back together.
Yeah.
But on the other hand, it really is just that the more we learn about reality itself, that in itself is terrifying.
Yes. Yeah. There's a lot of the existential thinking that goes along with how we experience reality and time and all the things that sci-fi deal with. This film deals with the technology aspect, and I love it. And it does it in a fucking gross-ass, badass way. We talked about on our previous Cronenberg episode, The Brood. Go ahead and check our back catalog. That one of the themes in Cronenberg's films is humans are gross. Well, guess what? Insects are grosser, Jonathan. And he fucking ups the ante with this film. Like, I feel like every movie he made before this led to this movie. And that's why I think it's fucking perfect.
Yeah. What else? So The Brood was before this. Was Dead Ringers before this?
No, Dead Ringers was
After.
88. Yeah.
Okay.
That was right before he started doing more art house films. So he had done like Rabid and
Scanners,
Shivers, which was very controversial when it came out. I think Videodrome maybe came out.
I always forget about that one. I don't know why.
I fucking love that one. It's so weird. It's so weird. You feel like you get violated when you watch his movies. You really do, though.
I like how you said it in a good way. It's like, you should watch Cronenberg because he will violate you.
It's so, but in this existential, thought-provoking way. It's not.
I think he
in your face.
He and Lars von Trier are similar in that way.
Yeah.
Well, no, Lars von Trier is in your face, and every other part of your body he can get access to.
Right.
But they're both in that sort of deeply unsettling, make you question like the nature of reality kind of vein a lot of times.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I would compare them, and they make you feel a certain way after you watch them. That's for sure. You feel violated, almost. Yeah. It's not just body horror. It's the horror of watching someone you love change over time and lose their or watching someone lose their humanity.
What's funny about that is that if you're going to be in a relationship, there's no alternative to watching somebody change over time.
I mean, yeah.
I mean, that has to happen, right?
I mean,
and yet it does unsettle us.
I agree. There's that great Tame Impala line that they say people never change. Man, that's bullshit. They do. You can't. That's growth. That's human growth. You have to change. You have to adapt. Otherwise, you're getting left behind. And I don't like being left behind, Jonathan. I don't like to be last in line either.
Well, if you don't accept our Lord and Savior, when the rapture
left behind,
when the rapture comes,
shit,
you're going to be sitting here,
man. Come on,
with the demons.
Come on, man.
And there might not be electricity then to watch movies. I'm just saying.
Gore versus body horror. There's a difference. Do you think so?
Gore versus body horror. Yes, I think. What do you think the difference is?
Well, gore is like blood and guts, and it's like excess. Whereas body horror is like almost like everyday things that could happen to you, like fingernails coming out.
Yeah.
Your teeth falling out and painful. Your ear falling off. Like
I don't know, but that's for me. I don't know if this is true, but I'm gonna say it. For me, I think the difference is whether or not I care about the character it's happening to. If I care about the character it's happening to, then it's body horror.
Yeah.
If I don't, then it's gore.
Interesting.
Because it's
that's
like,
similar to your thing with torture porn.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's interesting. I mean, that's not a bad way to put it.
Because if you just want to compare just like, I don't know of another word, but just basic grossness. Mm-hmm. Like when his teeth are falling out and that mirror scene when the transformation is underway, that's as gross as anything you're ever going to see. But it's body horror because you care about it. Well, you don't want this to happen.
Well, my thing is if it was gore, blood would have gushed out and splatted on the mirror, and and we would have gotten a river of blood going down the drain. That's gore to me. Gore also seems fun at times.
Sure,
but
that's tonal too,
funny.
Right?
Yeah.
I mean, it's like
absolutely tonal. Yeah.
If it's if you're emotionally affected by it, again, I think it's that sort of body horror, and if it's like a trauma film.
Yeah.
You're just giggling because there's nothing else to do.
Right. Oh my God. Oh, and those Peter Jackson early flicks too. Good.
Bad taste.
Damn. Oh my God. I'm sorry to bring this up, but I'm feeling it too. Part of body horror is growing older.
Sure.
Yeah.
How
you can't really control the things you used to be able to control as much.
I think everyone. Universally, every human being's first experience with body horror is puberty.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. Yeah, and there's horror movies about that.
Well, sure, because until puberty, you really do. I think if you're a healthy kid, you really do feel like your body belongs to you.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like you and your body are sort of one. Mm-hmm. Your goals are the same. Mm-hmm. What you're trying to go toward or stay away from are the same. That's sync. And puberty just throws that all to the wall because everything. It's very common for, you take like an 8-year-old boy and like, do you want a girlfriend? They'll sort of like, you're gross, get away from me.
Yeah.
Wait 4 years and it's all they can think about. And so there's that first betrayal, right?
Yeah.
Where you realize your body's agenda is not your own.
Yeah.
And then getting old is the next one.
It's hard. It's hard for a lot of people. You grow up knowing that it's going to happen. But you don't really think it's gonna happen until it happens. It's so strange, dude. It's weird how our minds work that way, but it's very neat and very strange.
There's that great line in Chernobyl where Skarsgård, his character, says something like,
I love that show.
But no one ever thinks it's gonna happen to them.
Right. No, you don't. Maybe if we were worried that shit like that was gonna happen to us all the time, we wouldn't be able to.
But we acknowledge at least but we acknowledge that bad things are going to happen, right? Because we hear about them every day and we see them from some remove every day. But in the back of our heads, I still think there's this very human thing where it's like you can't really come face to face with the fact that at some point it's your turn.
You're gonna die. Yeah. Cronenberg was famously asked if he was scared of death, and he said, "Depends on what time of day it is."
I don't know. Depends how drunk I am when it happens.
I love that. So I want to. I'm sure most people have seen this film, but essentially, there's this doctor who wants to create teleportation, and he meets a journalist at this science party, and he woos her to come back to his place because he has something none of these guys have. He has something that will change the world. Do you like how he advanced and asked her to come over and then was like, I can't let you leave now because you know my secrets?
Listen, that was fine in the 80s.
That's what I was going to say.
That was an acceptable seduction strategy, was to invite an attractive female journalist to your cool loft apartment, show her your world-changing technology in the hopes that she would want to sleep with you. I did that constantly as an 8-year-old in the 80s.
She's her own woman in this, though. And I like that because, we learn about that with the ex-boyfriend, and we'll get to him in just a second. But essentially, they fall in love. Something happens to make him get drunk. Like something with her. Oh, she talks about her ex or something, or he calls or shows up. I can't remember. I'm sorry. But essentially he gets drunk and decides, fuck it, I'm gonna go through the teleportation chamber and see if it works. And that's how he lets the fly in, is he's drunk. He's not paying attention. And that's all because apparently of he's a fragile man. And he gets drunk when he's told no. Yeah. And then when he's told no, he reacts and and then he does stupid shit.
So, is this a case of male fragility, or is this a case of women being horrible, like in the Garden of Eden, and ruining a good thing, Levi?
No. This film is about male hubris and ego, and how, especially with the ex character. Okay, the ex-boyfriend is like he stalks her. Yeah. He lets himself into her place. He's like, you're a goddess, but fuck. And it's just very, very strange. And she's obviously told him fucking no.
Several times.
And she tells him all the time, fucking leave, fucking no, we are done. It doesn't matter who I sleep with, it's none of your business. And he just can't take no for an answer. Fragile male. But Jeff Goldblum ends up being, she really ends up caring for him. But once he becomes part of the fly, or the fly becomes part of him, his attitudes start changing.
Well, yeah, insect DNA will do that to you.
Right. He becomes very obsessive. And that's almost like that's like an insect trait, I feel like. They're an animal trait. Programmed, for one fucking thing.
Look at what happens to a pride of lions when a new lion tries to walk in.
Right. And he's already got that I need to breed mentality. All of a sudden sex is a big deal to him, when before it wasn't. It was all about his work. But throughout the film he realizes he's losing his humanity. And it's a slow process. It's a gross process. When he opens up the cabinet and he's got little body parts of himself that have been falling off.
An ear?
Yeah. I think there's a penis in there.
Oh, God!
But the movie, okay.
All the things to lose.
I want to talk about this too. It feels like a superhero origin film. It's like Spider-Man. Especially when he's stuck on the fucking wall, and it's like he radioactively tried to teleport and then got spliced with a fly, and now he's a fucking superhero. And he was for a little bit, the arm wrestling scene, and it's.
But then he had to go full insect. You never go full insect.
Never go full insect.
But Spider-Man, he just got a touch.
Yeah, he did. He just got a little touch.
He didn't go halfsies.
Okay, so. One of the more terrifying scenes also is they sleep together after he's been in the fly.
Yeah, they do.
And she gets pregnant. And she has
whose
a dream.
fault was that?
Well, his pullout game was weak, apparently.
My God. They had birth control in the 80s.
Wear protection.
What are you
Oh
doing?
my God. So yeah, they get pregnant, and one of the more terrifying scenes is her birthing the baby, and it's a dream sequence. And Cronenberg plays the doctor.
Oh, I didn't
It's
realize
like
that.
saying push.
I didn't realize that.
Yeah, I thought that was cool. The ending.
But wait.
Okay, sorry. Yeah,
I just want to bring this up. Can you believe she was going to abort that baby?
I mean,
come on, Levi. Levi, life is sacred.
Jonathan. Life is sacred. We don't know what that would have been, and she didn't care to find out, and I cannot blame her for that.
No, I can't either. I'm kidding.
I know you.
It's just you
He wants to start a family. He wants to start a little fly family.
start little bug
God,
children.
it's nuts.
They would have been adorable.
I mean, I'm sure.
Walking around spitting acid on everything.
I'm
They
sure.
would have been adorable.
And
probably not that much more destructive than regular human kids. I mean, come on.
the grotesque ending, dude. When he's like pulling her towards him, and his face starts falling off, and the eyes come out. Oh man, it's just
You don't need a face when
and
you're
the
a bug.
legs. Oh man, it's so fucking gross. And then,
But it does seem. I mean, theoretically, from the way the science is explained, right?
Yeah.
He should have been half and half man, half fly, right?
Well,
because
right.
because the
Well-
computer did its best to splice them together.
Well, here's what I think happened is he's not we'll just ask the question: is he half man, half fly? Is he man fly, or is he the computer's interpretation of what a man and fly would be? And that's to me
Okay,
the more
so-
horrifying answer.
Sure.
Because he looks like a fucking.
I'm just saying the computer leaned hard on the fly.
It really
The only thing he
did.
kept from
Yeah.
being a human was like how tall he was.
Yeah, and like he actually had eyes instead of. I mean, they were massive, nasty eyes, but they weren't the fucking
20
fly
of them,
eyes.
yeah.
Yeah. So, but man, it's just so for me. I love this ending, dude. This ending is fucking brutal.
This inning is pure horn.
It's so brutal. Oh my god.
There's no light at the end of this tunnel. It's just terrible.
No. I mean, her ex shows up to save her, which, I mean, who knows if he was already there or not, just hiding in the walls. But he shows up to save her.
Been living on the roof.
And, man, so much happens where he's trying
Doesn't her boss show up to save her too?
I thought that was her ex. It might be her boss. No, that's her ex, dude.
Boss and ex.
Yeah. I think... Yeah, I'm not remembering that right. Maybe not. I didn't rewatch this for the podcast because I've seen it so many fucking times. But
The guy who plays her boss is great.
he is, man.
He's the perfect combination of at times he seems smarmy and like too into her,
Yes.
but then at times he seems, genuinely concerned for her welfare.
Oh yeah, and oh man.
Or at least once the
John Getz plays the
the
ex.
fly is underway.
John Getz.
Did you ever see part 2 with Eric Stoltz?
Spoiler alert. She has the baby.
I know. I've seen it. It's
The
great.
Fly too.
It's
yeah.
great.
I've never actually seen The Fly too.
Eric Stoltz is the baby.
Oh my god, that's crazy. Let's see. Oh, okay. So the ending. So he's trying to mix himself with Gina Davis,
And who wouldn't want to mix themselves with Gina Davis
right
in the 80s?
so that she can become a fly, and then their baby can be a fly, and they can be an insect family.
Well, no. The theory is that if she gets into the pod with him,
Oh, that's what it is. Yeah, and then they put
then the resulting creation will be more human.
Yeah.
Not completely human, but more
human. Yeah,
and that he can sort of filter out the fly DNA.
That's right.
Using the baby
That's right.
as a template.
I had something with that, but anyway, shit happens, and by the time he crawls out of the teleporter, he's like part man, part fly, part machine, because the ex-boyfriend shoots the connector tube so that Gina Davis is not affected, and it just backfires on Jeff Goldblum or the Brundle fly, and he's crawling towards her at one point, and she's carrying the gun. Oh God, oh no. And it's so sad, dude. And she
sells that.
Dude, that's what I mean. It's so sad.
She sells that.
She really does. And he puts his little insect claw on the gun and pulls it to his head, being like, kill me.
Yeah.
And she does. And literally ends right there. And that is insane, man. I love this movie. The end is so good. It is gross. No shit, Cheryl does not like this film, even though she loves Dead Alive.
Really?
And she loves Jeff Goldblum.
What does she know?
I think this is like a different, because his stuff is like pseudo-sexual, pseudo-psychological body horror. And Dead Alive is like humor level.
But that's the thing. I think it's the tone. Because again, in Dead Alive, although I enjoy that movie, you're not taking it seriously. There's a Sumerian rat monkey that starts a zombie. I mean, you're not.
So hilarious.
It's gross, but you're laughing.
Yeah.
And this is gross, but you're not laughing.
Mm-hmm.
Like it's deeply upsetting.
Yeah. Oh yeah. I mean, it's it's a hell of a film. Cronenberg seems to be into body. He's also into disease. His latest film kind of deals with that. And so does The Brood. And so in this film, he calls it a bizarre form of cancer, like it's a disease, and he personifies it, like he talks about it like, I know what it wants, I know what it wants me to do, which is kind of like what we do with disease, and also I'll just say fuck cancer. So yeah, I wanted to talk a little bit more about Cronenberg. First I want to ask you, what's your favorite scene, or what do you think is the gnarliest scene in this movie?
It's the mirror transformation for me.
Oh yeah.
I mean, where it's just, again, where he opens that cabinet and you're like,
dude.
well, that's where he's putting his pieces.
Yeah,
and
dude.
It's the teeth falling out, the ears. I mean, it's just.
So.
Yeah.
Oh man, that's my second. My first is, flies don't have mouths. They have tubes. And so what they do is they vomit.
Yeah.
Acid, essentially.
They digest their food on the outside and then slurp
suck it in, yeah. And he literally does this to someone.
The arm.
The arm and the leg. And it melts away like in Raiders of the Lost Ark, which it's the same effect.
It really does, doesn't it?
Oh
I never put that together, but it is.
Same exact effect.
It's the melting.
Wax, or whatever that they melt. It's so good. Oh, man, it's so fucking gross. And then when his jaw falls off when she slaps him.
How would you rate the sex scene in this movie?
I mean,
these are two.
It's 86.
These are two very beautiful people.
They are.
Before he turns gross.
Right. Jeff Goldblum is a very attractive man. Gina Davis is a very attractive woman. One of the movies I liked growing up a lot was A League of Their Own. It was on TV all the time.
Oh, it's a great movie.
It's an awesome movie, yeah. And she's great, dude.
She is?
She's awesome in Beetlejuice. Speaking of Beetlejuice 2 is coming. I'm pretty sure she's in it. But I don't know for sure.
Did you see her and Samuel L. Jackson in The Long Kiss Goodnight?
I have seen that. Yeah.
That's very sort of a departure for her.
Yeah.
But, it was good.
Absolutely. Yeah. The line, "I'm a fly who dreamt he was a man, and now the dream is over and the insect is awake." Yeah.
That's straight from Kafka, right?
Yeah. It's just tragic. On IMDb, this is listed as a tragedy.
Really?
Yes. It's one of the... It says body horror, drama, horror, tragedy, sci-fi. Sick. If you haven't seen this movie, it takes a strong stomach. But I watched it as a kid, and
Levi, and look, he's fine.
I'm fine.
He's fine. Don't you want to be like Levi? Don't you want your kid watch the movie with your family?
I love this
and
movie.
Your babies.
It just has a lot of interesting things to say, especially, and we say this a lot, especially in 2024. It's a very well-made movie. It's very well acted. The music at the end, if you just listen to the music at the end of the movie, man, it's meant to make you cry.
Got a great score. Who did the music?
Let me look it up. I was just looking that up because I should have
because it is solid.
It's so good. Howard Shore is the composer. Yeah. He's also done, he's
done a lot.
He did Lord of the Rings and The Hobbit. He also did the more recent Crimes of the Future, the more recent.
Film composer has to be a fantastic job. Once you have enough work coming in to pay the bills, I mean, that has to be a fantastic job.
Yeah, I'm sure he's doing awesomely. They credit the original writer and Cronenberg and a man named Charles Edward Pogue. Charles Edward Pogue wrote Dragonheart and Psycho 3, which I've heard is not very good. He also wrote for Hercules, the TV show.
little Kevin Sorbo?
Yeah.
Kevin Sorbo would not consider you a real American, Levi.
Yeah, no, I guess he wouldn't.
From his Twitter posts, I'm just guessing.
Oh, god damn. I forgot about that. I just X'd that out. So on our Brood episode, we didn't actually get to talk about Cronenberg that much. I'm not going to name a lot of things. There's a documentary on YouTube. There's actually a lot of documentaries on YouTube. I suggest you just go watch those. He's an interesting little weirdo, and I love my fucking weirdos. So he's really neat. Born in 1943 in Ontario, he was middle class. His family was middle class. He studied organic chemistry and literature before switching to film.
That is a fascinating combination.
Yeah.
I don't think I've ever met anybody who could pass both a lit class and organic chemistry.
Yeah, no, not even.
Talk about weird.
That. Yeah. Sorry. So when Shivers came out, that was like, Shivers made more money than any other film that came out in Canada the year it came out, and.
Well, Canada's like 12 people who live there, so that's like 27. No, ticket prices like $40.
Yeah, the reviews were terrible. The reviews were like, "Don't go see this film. If you're watching this film, just remember that you bought a ticket." It's so funny.
You deserve it.
Yeah, it's so funny. That's for Shivers, not for The Fly. And it was so badly thought of by the public that his landlord. Basically kicked him out, saying he defied a moral clause by making that.
That
film.
is fantastic. That
awesome.
Makes me think of the Reanimator story where the guy got divorced after the premiere.
Yeah,
you know what we should do? I was going to say we should write a book, but nobody reads them. But we should do some sort of a project,
the right one.
Maybe a documentary, since.
Nobody, horror has ruined
nobody.
Their lives.
No, yeah. I'm talking about horror movies that actually had.
A negative effect.
Terrible real world consequences for the people who made them.
Well, one of the more famous one that, like, we talked about it on one of our episodes is The Exorcist. And Linda Blair had to have a bodyguard for 6 months after The Exorcist because people would like throw shit at her and come up to her with the cross and tell her she's a demon. Dude.
Didn't the people who made Cannibal Holocaust get arrested?
Yeah, because they thought it was real.
They were held.
They thought it was real. Yeah, it's so good. Cannibal Holocaust fucked up. Now that's a different movie.
You guys can just, if you haven't seen that, just skip it. You're fine.
That's
You're
a
good.
different movie. Or 120 Days of Sodom as well. Even though I really like what that film has to say, it's only worth watching once. This, however, you could watch multiple times. It's not going to be easy, maybe, but you could definitely rewatch.
Well, The Fly is timely. Number one, Valentine's Day was yesterday. Mm-hmm. February is the love month or whatever, and that's in there. But it's also really timely because, and I say this as somebody who, again, works with technology every day, like as a web programmer. But it's also timely because I can't think of any other time that is experiencing, and I mean even in the last 20 years, and we've seen tremendous changes in the last 20 years. But with the advent of AI generators and everything that's going on in that field, I don't think anyone alive has ever experienced this level of innovation is the wrong word.
Is the anxiety
this level of just change and possibility
so quickly,
and it's only going to speed up.
No.
I mean, today OpenAI released their first video generation tool.
Jesus Christ! Yeah, I know. And
we
kind of talked about that on our New Year's episode.
Yeah, but this is, I mean, there were video generators previously, but they were really janky. They were really
Sketchy,
sort of they were
yeah.
sketchy. You could really tell.
You could tell, yeah.
But the examples that they released, and of course they only released like the best examples they could make.
Finely tuned examples.
But the finely tuned examples they released, like it's smooth motion. It's not perfect yet. But the thing about AI is it is only going to get better from here on out.
Is our anxiety valid?
Some degree of anxiety is certainly
sci-fi
valid.
would tell you it is.
I don't know if the Terminator worry is valid.
Right, yeah. My worry is
and
humans won't be making films anymore or art anymore.
But the thing, well, at least how it works right now is, it's just a generator. You have to tell it what to do.
Right, exactly. But people are passing that off as, I'm an artist. Literally, look what I made on AI.
Yes.
And it's like...
But imagine this. Imagine that gets fine-tuned to the point where the script writer, where a great script writer, a great descriptive script writer, makes the movie herself. Like where a great script, that's it.
Yeah.
If you can write well enough.
Right.
And then basically when you're done with your script, you feed it. To a generator,
and it makes the movie,
and then you keep talking to it, and you're like, no, in scene 2,
make this
I
choice.
don't like blah blah blah. Change the lighting, blah blah blah.
Yeah.
But imagine that you make a movie just by writing.
I mean, that
just by
sounds
talking
awesome,
to
but
it.
That sounds awesome. But also, I mean, there's just little things like when you're working the camera that it's not going to be able to do, just like a human will, or have that human eye at a location or on set. I mean, I get that we've had the CGI thing, and it's some people are rarely on fucking set anymore. But I mean, I don't know. I just think there's a human thing there that matters when it comes to art. But
I hope there is.
I do as well, buddy. Trust me.
But what I'm asking specifically with again, we're just talking about generators, not AI, not AI, leaping ahead and doing things on its own volition, not AI suddenly having desires of its own and acting on its own behalf. But just in terms of generators, if that video generation gets to the point that we're talking about, doesn't that just make movie making basically the same thing as writing a great novel? Because if the writing is good enough and the tech is good enough to pick up on the direction that you're giving it,
how many people are going to lose their jobs because of that, though? Now, I don't want to be losing our jobs, but it takes hundreds of people to make a feature film.
I still know programmers who think that programmers are going to be safe, and it's like, did you really think that the tools we've been collectively creating weren't going to come for you
come
too?
At us. Dude, that's exactly.
Did you really think
exactly what
they
this
weren't
is
going to
about.
come for you too?
That's exactly what The Fly is about, essentially.
Yeah,
it really is. It's really, really scary.
But at the same time, isn't that exciting?
It
The idea
can
that
be.
if you wrote a great script,
That's all I would need.
that we would tune a machine to the degree that it understood language, to the degree that you would, here's my script.
That'd be awesome. And then we wouldn't even have to do the podcast either.
Well, sure, somebody's got to talk about them.
Fuck this.
No, but one thing that does not, of course, what that cuts out, and one of the things you're talking about when you're talking about the human element, is like the accidents that happen on set that make the movie better.
Human error leads to, and also how, and I've said this a bunch because it's so true, how like a time crunch or a money crunch can actually make you more creative. Obstacles make you more creative.
And also, movies are famously and incredibly collaborative. Like filmmaking,
that's what I don't want to lose.
Is such an intensely, and I just know this a little bit from you guys watching you guys do your shorts and you telling me things. But it's there's so many people in there. And so you're getting
even for a short film.
Yeah, even for a short film, and you're getting so many different perspectives on what you're doing, and so you create that collaborative nature of it creates this opportunity for all sorts of different inputs. Yeah, which you won't have if it's one person talking to a machine. I don't think.
Yeah, I don't think so either.
To say nothing of whether those AI video generators can ever approach a human actor.
Yeah, I don't.
Because I mean,
hopefully that won't ever be the case. Because for me, the little nuanced thing. Every actor is unique. One of the names that pops up in my head or faces that pops up when I think of a unique actor is Barry Coogan. This dude that was just in Saltburn.
He's in Chernobyl too.
Yeah, he's fucking awesome, dude. I'm sort of jealous, but that's okay. Yeah, he's just really vulnerable. I don't think AI is going to be able to. That's one thing I don't think AI is going to be able to do is project the vulnerability that it takes to be a great actor or actress.
They're gonna feed that thing a video of every great performance that's ever been done. Right. They're gonna have every great performance labeled in terms of like whatever particular kinds of pathos or emotions or whatever it displays or generates. And my thing is that 10 years ago, every program on Earth would have said the AI that we have right now is basically impossible.
Yeah.
Or if not impossible, unlikely, or then they would have given you all these reasons, right? But it's here now, and it's like for programming, it's the place you start.
Yeah, yeah, no, and it makes sense that would be the place you start now. I mean, honestly,
and just the idea that that's not going to hit basically every other kind of thing that we create, and it's only going to get better.
Yeah.
I don't know.
I don't know either. It's too early. You know, we talked about that the last time we talked about AI. It's too early to tell. They're still shoggoths to us.
Imagine you could make a short in an evening. You get an idea.
God, I'd have hundreds of films.
Yeah, but that's what I'm saying. You would.
But then everybody would.
No, not everybody. Because most people can't be bothered. This is the other thing my counter to like our enormous worry about the AI generators that we already have.
Yeah.
Is that most people, a huge number of people are functionally illiterate. A huge number of people do not possess the verbal ability to write in any manner descriptive or specific enough to tell the computer what they want.
I think, yeah, some people are just scared to write, and I get that too. I also get that, the writer procrastination is a real thing. Like, more than any other thing I've felt. It's like, man, I'll have that drive tomorrow.
Sure.
To actually sit down and write it. And you say that like every fucking day. It's insane. But speaking of a writer, because I want to change to this real quick. Sorry. We've got our podcast Bible right here. Stephen King's Dance Macabre.
Dance Macabre.
Of course, he had a word or two about David Cronenberg. Let's read. If you remember from our Brood episode, we actually read from this book as well. And he talked about how sometimes horror movies can make you feel fears that you felt as a child, and The Brood kind of goes after that. Cronenberg's The Brood. So let's see. This is straight from the King's mouth. The only director I can think of who has explored this gray land between art and porno exhibitionism successfully, even brilliantly, again and again, with never a misstep, is the Canadian filmmaker David Cronenberg. Now, one of the things I want to talk about is, and I forgot to bring this up, his earlier films like Shivers and Rabid feel like exploitation films, but they're not. Because he's...
Lean into that, because what's the difference between an exploitation film and one that feels like it but isn't? Or one that uses those tropes and isn't?
I think it's we're not making this movie to highlight sex or a woman's body or a penis. We're making this to make you feel something.
Okay.
That might make you relook at the world around you. I mean, a lot of his stuff has to do with AIDS too, apparently, because
people sometimes interpret The Fly as being I was looking at things about the movie as like a metaphor for the AIDS crisis.
Yeah. I mean, and then the Shivers they use as a metaphor for STDs, straight up like venereal disease. One of the things I saw in one of the documentaries is Guillermo del Toro said he saw Shivers as a virgin, and it really fucked him up. Like he didn't really think he wanted to have sex after that. He was like, maybe it's not all it's cut out to be. I love him, man.
I'm going to show that to my son. He's about 11. Maybe he'll buy some time.
I watched Dario Argento Panico, which is a documentary on Dario Argento. And Guillermo del Toro's on that. Guillermo del Toro's on every single fucking horror documentary I can think of almost. He's on the Fear of the Unknown.
You get the feeling he has a second phone.
He's
that it's just like, hey man, we just started a podcast and we got like 2 listeners, but would you come on and he's like, yeah. He literally is. It's so cool.
He's a super fan. He's a super fan. It's so cool. He never stops studying any day. Like that's his thing, is basically, you know, he's just a complete student of the genre, and you know I fucking love that. And I am very excited for his Frankenstein. This kind of had some Frankenstein vibes to it.
Sure, man becomes monster.
Yeah, yeah. Male hubris, perhaps. Don't know.
Is it hubris? I mean, every tech horror story has to involve a degrry of hubris because, you know, the fact that we create these tools to give ourselves more power than humans have ever had, in and of itself, I guess, has to be some degree of hubris. Our belief, well, the underlying belief of our whole technological project, it seems to me, has to be that the world is, and thus we are perfectible.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Better and better and better and better and better, right?
Yes. That's, again, growth, evolution, you know, right?
I mean, they would talk about it that way, but evolution's, as an English major who has read books about this subject but never passed organic chemistry, my understanding of natural selection and evolution is they never produce best. They produce good enough. They produce adapted enough for the constraints of the environment.
And eventually you will have to evolve more or die off.
But there's no such thing as best or perfect in nature, right? It's all just, it evolves to the point where it succeeds well enough in its environment to reproduce.
I don't know,
reliably.
Jonathan, have you ever eaten a cosmic apple?
I have not.
Actually, those things are grown in a lab, so they're not part of nature.
But are they good?
They're so fucking good. Oh my god.
Where do I get one?
They're at most stores now.
Okay.
Yeah. I'm on a big apple kick.
I'll try some frankenfruit.
Hell yeah. Let's see. Speaking of our short films, you can watch me and my brother and a whole team of people's short film at Nowhere Now Productions on YouTube. We're also at Nowhere Now Productions on Instagram. I was on another episode of Dads from the Crypt.
You're doing the Del Toro route, man. You're making the circuit.
Trying. I was on the episode from February 4th called The Entire History of You, which is, we covered a Black Mirror episode, season 1, episode 3. But, you know, they questioned me about our short film at the very top of the episode. Which one? So, Madness Within.
Yeah,
they saw it and they really liked it. So, which is great. I don't expect anyone to like it, but I also don't expect anyone to blow smoke up.
Madness Within, third one filmed, second one released?
Correct. Yeah.
Okay.
Our second one that we filmed has yet to be released officially, but you saw it.
Yes, and that's my favorite so far.
It's all of our favorites.
It's my favorite so far.
It's the weirdest.
Whatever that's worth.
Yeah, it's the weirdest.
It's the moodiest.
It really is. That was our whole goal with that one. Was not a lot of dialogue at all.
I like the Madness Within.
Oh, I do too. Yeah,
and I might be leaning on the other one a little bit because, you know, you're acting in it. You got to do that more.
Oh, in Flight.
Yeah.
Oh no.
No, yeah.
Where is it?
The second one. You got to do that more. You
know,
trained as an actor. What are you doing?
I just don't like the narcissism that comes with it. You know, I got a bad taste in my mouth.
Well, listen, we'll do one.
Trying to be a professional.
We'll do one. I'll direct it, and I will Herzog your Klaus.
We've talked about
I will Herzog your Klaus.
All right, I will Klaus Kinski the fuck out of you, and it's not going to be pretty.
We will take care of that narcissism, son.
I demand coffee. I demand it now.
What was that? His daily tantrum on the set of
Daily, yeah,
and that South American movie. I love it.
What is it? God, Land of God.
Yes.
What's it called?
Land of God.
I don't remember. Fuck. God,
I'm embarrassed.
Bad.
I like the documentary about it even more than the movie, and I can't remember the name of that either right now. But it's just tremendous.
So good. Yeah. Oh man, he's Fitzcarraldo.
Yes, Fitzcarraldo is the name of the movie.
Land of God. Yeah. Is there anything else you want to discuss with The Fly? Before we do our closing.
I mean, just to reiterate that, you know, if you haven't seen this one, you got to see it. I mean, especially if you're at all of a Jeff Goldblum fan.
Yeah.
Because again, Pete Goldblum, life finds a way. Certainly does in The Fly.
Right. Oh my God. I'm trying to place where I would put this all time for me, horror wise. It's in my top 20. It's not in my top 10 though. But
oh, that's a good question.
But being in my top 20, I mean, I love this. I give it 4.5 out of 5. Like, it's fucking awesome.
It would, if we're just talking about science fiction horror movies, top 5.
Yeah, okay, there you go. Top 5 science fiction horror movies. Do you have a favorite do you have a favorite Cronenberg film, or do you have like a top 3 Cronenberg films? Because I've got that too.
So my favorite's probably The Fly.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
I mean, I really like The Brood because we did that.
Yeah. Yeah, I did too.
But for me, it would probably be The Fly, The Brood, and Videodrome. But I always forget about Videodrome for some reason. But now that you've reminded me of it, I'm not sure what I put above. I mean, I like Dead Ringers quite a bit.
Jonathan, we really are hetero life partners.
I know.
Because that's exactly my top 3.
All we need is, a lot of money, and we'll discard this burdensome heterosexuality, and we'll be happy.
I thought about putting a history of violence or Eastern Promises in there, but again, those aren't horror films. So
you said a history of violence.
His new films, fucking.
I feel like you got to cut his career in half because I just don't think you can rank all of those. Mm-hmm. You go from Videodrome or you go from Scanners.
Yeah.
To a history of violence.
I mean, now though, his most recent film, Crimes of the Future, is very much in the same vein as Videodrome.
I love a history of violence, though.
I got
an argument
I need to rewatch
in
that.
creative writing school with one of the professors about this because he thought it was not a believable movie. Well, his argument was that he knew the guy was not who he knew the hero was not who he said he was. Like he figured out the movie. The instant the violence broke out in the cafe.
Right.
His thing was like...
you can tell by the poster of the film that this guy's probably not who he says he is.
Sure. And for him, that it ruined it because he felt like that was supposed to be an open question until the middle when it was confirmed. And he felt like without that being a reliable open question, he was just... The only way to enjoy the movie was to sort of give them... extend this forgiveness for making that mistake in the beginning, and then it's messing with your suspension of disbelief. And actually, now I'm talking myself into his point of view. But
it's fucking awesome, dude. It's great, man. It really is. But yeah, you named off my top 3 already. But yeah, Cronenberg's an important horror director. He really is. What do you want to do next? What are we going to do for the month of March? We're not fucking doing Leprechaun. Do not put that on the list.
Jennifer Aniston's in that movie.
We can do it. We haven't done it. We haven't. I mean, fuck.
Well, if I'm picking,
yeah,
I would love to do something a little out of the way.
Yeah. I remember what you said on the New Year's episode.
I would still like to do Chernobyl. Because for me, that's a 5-part horror movie. Awesome. It's a 5-part horror movie, and it's just endlessly, there's so much to talk about. And but anyway, I'd like to cover that. That'd be like 2 episodes.
I mean, yeah,
cut it in half.
Yeah, absolutely, yeah. I mean,
I was thinking maybe we find a guest who's a little bit better read than we are.
You love Chernobyl.
Yes,
so I think we should have Luke on this
because he's better read than both of us.
He's very well read on history.
He loves history.
That's kind of my thing. My thing with Luke is he's the way we are about horror. He is about history.
He hasn't seen Chernobyl yet. So we could all watch it together, and then we could do the episode, which I think would be tremendous.
Yeah, that's insane. That's really good.
Also, while we're talking about the Baldwins, the boys,
the boys, yeah,
we have to give a shout out to Caleb and thank him for suggesting this movie because you sent me a text and you were like, "Hey, what are some horror movies that deal with relationships and with love and things gone bad?" And I'm ashamed to say I did not think of this one, but I mentioned that your question to Caleb and he suggested this one.
I see. Had it been. And I'm glad he said that because I was really riding hard on Coppola's Dracula, but I want to save that one for Halloween this year. So, because I mean, on the poster it says "Love Never Dies." I fucking love that.
Okay, but for that one, I'm just gonna get a cutout of myself and I'm gonna put it in the chair because I don't think I'm gonna get a word in.
No, you probably won't. Well, your distaste for vampires will hold your tongue.
There are things I like about that movie.
Let's see.
Anthony Hopkins. I mean, come on,
dude, he's so good as Van Helsing. Let's see. I had a birthday, 37. Fan-fucking-tastic.
One of us.
For my birthday, I watched 3 Hammer horror films I'd never seen.
Are your joints hurting?
Huh?
Anything new hurting? Like your back, your lower back, your joints?
Dude, it's my knees. Honestly, honestly, it really is. I can't bend the way I used to. It's nuts. I watched with stunning Christopher Lee, Taste of Fear, Hammer horror. Also, Dr. Jekyll and Sister Hyde.
Oh,
Oh yeah, that's really good.
I have not seen that.
It was really good. And then The Plague of the Zombies, which I really didn't like. Yeah, and let's see. I watched Joe Bob this last weekend. He covered a movie that's very, very fucking weird called Freeway. It's starring...
Kiefer Sutherland
Yes.
and Reese Witherspoon.
Yes.
Oh, yes, it is.
That
very
movie's
weird.
wild.
And that was very much. There was a string of those in the 90s.
Yeah.
Like Oliver Stone.
The late 90s.
Yeah, that's like Natural Born Killers kind of vibe, you know?
Very much so. It very much is. Yeah,
Yeah.
You're absolutely right about that.
Been a minute, but I remember it.
I watched Ken Russell's Gothic. He's the guy that directed The Devils that I loved so much. This is a historically inaccurate interpretation of the time that Mary Shelley and Percy Shelley and Lord Byron and them spent together.
We covered that a little bit when I was in poetry school.
Mm-hmm.
They were out of their goddamn minds. Byron, out of his mind.
Oh, of course he was.
Shelley, out of his mind.
Oh, of course
all
they
of
were,
them.
yeah.
All of them.
They were just...
Whose heart did they cut out and bury on the beach?
Oh.
I think it was Shelley's, the man.
I don't think that's...
Not his wife.
Oh, I think you're right. I think you're actually right about that.
Because somebody wrote an account of how they cut it out and tried to burn it. I gotta look that up because that's a fantastic story. Poets are they're worse than theater kids.
Right. I watched a Lovecraft movie called Sacrifice starring Barbara Crampton. It's not very good.
Is it? When was that made? That's new, right?
Yeah,
Ish?
2021.
Okay.
Yeah. She speaks in a Norwegian accent.
I love that she's still making movies.
I do too, but she says fater and mutter and together.
Not a great accent.
Weird, dude. No, she gives a great emotional performance, but anytime she says something, it's rather funny.
Oh, I rewatched Prisoners.
God, I love that movie so much. That was like when I saw that. That was the guy who's directing Dune right now. And when I saw that movie, I was like, this guy is special. This director is special.
The director's great. Hugh Jackman is great.
God, I love Hugh Jackman in that movie.
Everybody in that
Tell me
movie is
you
great.
wouldn't react the same way.
Oh yeah, no. What the lead? You know what the only unbelievable part of that movie was to me was that the other father was like, "This isn't right."
You can't do this. Yeah.
The other guy would have been
think-
the other guy would have been like, "Well, you look tired. I'll take a turn beating this guy, and why don't you go get us some snacks?"
So my whole thing about that is nobody can feel what Hugh Jackman is feeling in that, even another father, because it's not his child. That's what I took from that.
But it is. They kidnap both girls.
Oh fuck, you're right.
Yeah, no,
oh my
he's
God, yeah.
he's in it just as much.
Yeah, dude.
And to me, the hesitation, I was like, no dad gives a shit. I mean, it's look. I'm not saying that you wouldn't in the back of your mind think we could be wrong.
Yeah,
there's a chance that we're wrong, and there's a chance that
they
we are
make a stupid emotional decision.
There's a chance that we are harming another human being for no good reason, and that's absolutely true. But the other side is there's a chance, a really good chance, he knows everything, and that this is how we save our kids. And the thing is, you know what? If you're wrong, I'm really sorry.
Yeah, wrong place.
But not really. I mean, I'm sorry for you. I'm sorry for the innocent person, right?
Oh,
but
no, yeah.
But it's like you put me back in that situation knowing what I know, doing the same thing.
Well,
knowing what I know then, I meant. If you put him in that situation, in that context, that's the only thing to do.
I don't have a child, so I couldn't speak of it. But yeah, I imagine the anger.
Just pretend they took Po' Boy.
Don't talk about it.
Exactly, right? Just
my son, my puppy, he's so precious to me.
But no, that's
another thing I was
tremendous.
gonna say. That twist in that movie is so fucking good.
Which one? There's like 12 of them.
Right. I know. It's so good. If you haven't seen Prisoners, watch Prisoners. We might cover it. I mean, it's fucking horror.
That's a horror movie.
Oh, I thank you. It is.
There's
is a
no
crime,
question.
It's a crime horror film to me, or crime thriller horror. But people would mostly just say crime thriller because they don't like saying horror for some reason. I also watched another love and horror movie called After Midnight. This is like an indie film that was made in 2019.
Don't think I know that one.
It's really funny. And not in this is a comedy. It's real people, and it takes place in the South, and so you feel like you know these people, and the way they feel like friends and family, and so they the way they pick at each other and shit is so fucking funny. It really is a lot funnier than I thought. sometimes I think they just let the camera roll
Yeah.
and let these people do what they do, and it's pretty good. I wanted more monster. The ending, by the time the ending happens, it's predictable, but overall, just like way more in the feels than I thought.
Yeah.
That movie would be. It's called After Midnight. It's on Tubi. Thank God for Tubi.
Slumming it on Tubi. Huh?
That is how That's how I've watched hundreds of horror movies. Tubi fucking rules. I don't know or care who runs it. Apparently, like Fox News does, and I shouldn't watch it, but it has so many horror titles on it, guys, and they're free.
I get you.
So I'm watching. I'm like,
Chick-fil-A makes good chicken, man. What are you gonna do? Sometimes you need some of that chicken.
Some of that chicken bigot. I'm not getting me any bigot chicken.
Have some of that bigot chicken. It tastes good.
Blah.
Thanks for watching. We have a viewer. We appreciate you.
Oh yeah, thanks for our viewers. Also, we actually not going to end the episode there. I'll edit that. Follow us on Patreon. We're patreon.com/welladjusted. You'll get access to our Discord and Letterboxd account. You'll also get access to the Well Adjusted Shorts.
And we just started this because of Valentine's Day, but Levi sends out some select photographs.
No. Unless you're willing to pay a lot of money, then you want to pay my rent, I'll send you some fucking.
It's not that much money, trust me.
Oh man. But also follow us on X, Instagram, Threads, Blue Sky. We're on all of those. On X, we're at Well Horror. Everything else, we're at Well_Adjusted Podcast. March is going to be fun. We're not going to be covering a fun title, but I'm excited to do maybe a 2-episode on Chernobyl.
That'd be awesome.
That would be also a harder thing to watch. But if you haven't seen it, guys, it's like 9.8 on IMDb. Like
I've seen it an embarrassing number of times, and every time I see something great that I didn't notice before.
And the actor dude, oh God, what's his name? I always forget it.
Wait, we got the Skarsgård. We've got the
Harris.
Jonathan Harris.
Jonathan Harris, dude, he's the Harris guy.
Legasov.
He's so good. He's in The Terror. He's in Mad Men. He's so fucking good.
He's fantastic.
I do love him. So yeah, be looking out for that. Hope you guys had
the guy from The Witch. The
Oh,
guy from The Witch plays one of the generals.
He's such a good actor. He's in something coming up that I'm very excited
That voice.
to watch.
Nobody has a voice
Nobody
like
has
that.
that voice. He's so good in The Green Knight. Christmas movie, by the way. Thanks for listening, guys. We'll see you in a couple of weeks. Hope you had a happy Valentine's Day. It's rather warm here, so I'm not worried about people being too cold, but I know New York just got like fucking foot of snow, so I guess winter is still here. Doesn't feel like it is here. So if you're lucky, go play in the snow. If you're lucky, go play out in the sun. And remember, keep your loved ones close. Keep your insects closer.
Yeah, and if it comes to it, please check your teleportation pod for bugs.
I would. Blah!
I don't know where the off button is.
Oh, shit.